Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be reading 1 John 3 and unpacking the false doctrines that are made when 1 John 3 is taken out of context. We're going to be looking at 1 through 10, and we're going to be looking at verse 7 and 8 in question. Then I'm going to tell you it in context. So without context, verse 7 through 8, let's read it with no context. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose of the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. What is this saying? This is saying, out of context, this may seem that it's saying, oh, if you sin, and if you continue willfully sinning, then you're going to hell. But if you try to stop sinning, then you're going to heaven. Well, this verse on paper, anybody can look at it, says if you sin, you're of the devil, and of the devil means you're going to hell. And if you don't sin, then you're of God and you go to heaven. This is what this verse says out of context. Okay? And a lot of them, they like to take this out of context and exegesis it. Exegesis means reading your own meaning into it. If you want to take this out of context and say it is talking about if you sin and if you don't sin, if you sin, then you're going to hell. If you don't sin, you go to heaven. Or if you try to not sin, then you're going to heaven. If you don't try to not sin, then you're going to hell. Well, if you take this and stop exegesising it, and if you want to take it out of context and read it plainly, it is saying if you sin, you're going to hell. Because you are of the devil. If you don't sin, you're going to heaven. Why? Because you're born of God. This is what this verse is saying on paper. Or not born of God, but he that doeth righteous is righteous. So if you doeth righteous, if you try to stop sinning, then you're righteous. No, that's not what this verse is saying. So let's read it in context, okay? Verse 1, immediate context. This is called immediate context. If only they would just look up, let's just say 2 verses up and 2 verses down, they would maybe get out of their false doctrine and stop taking it out of context. So let's just read this whole part. Verse 1 to 10. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Well, we know from Galatians 3:26 that we are sons of God by faith. So, therefore, the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. What is this saying? They didn't know Jesus was God. They don't know us. Okay, the world doesn't know Jesus. They don't know us. Why? Because we are of Jesus. We are sons of God. Why? By faith. Because we have faith, and we know we are born of God when we have faith. Born again of God when we have faith. Okay, verse 2. Beloved, now we are the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when we shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. What is this saying? I believe this is talking about the second coming of Jesus. So verse 3, when we get our glorified bodies and we see him as God, instead of some puny human that calls himself God and blasphemes that he thinks he's God, like Muhammad, where he thinks that he points people to God but steals their money. Okay, that's what Muhammad was doing. Okay, he copied our Bible. He copied our book and scholars. He took out and copied scholars and took their scientific discoveries and said, "Oh, I'm gonna put it in my book." So they think that we are correct. They think we're correct, even though we say in our verse in Quran 5 verse 68 to obey the Bible, and if you don't obey the Bible, then you have nothing to stand on. And what does the Bible say? It says that Jesus is God. So the Quran, even if the Quran is true, then it's false. But that's a whole other topic. So let's get back on track. Okay, verse 3, and every man hath this hope in him, purifieth himself, even as he is pure. This is talking about our faith. Okay, Hebrews 11 verse 1 says, faith is the substance of faith is the substance of things hoped for. Okay? That's what verse 11 of Hebrews 11 says. Or verse 1 of Hebrews 11 says. So this is talking about our faith. Verse 4 is where I really want to cover, because this is so funny how they completely miss this part. Or they intentionally take it out of context, like the Catholics. Or the Pope. So, verse 4, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth the law. Also, the law transgresseth the law. Also, the law for sin is the transgression of the law. So, sin is transgression of the law. Verse 5, and ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him no sin. We are born of him, the incorruptible seed. So there is no sin. We cannot sin. And this is further clarified in verse 9, but we will get there. Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth hath not seen him, neither known him. This disproves their interpretation of 7:8. They say, if you try to not sin. No, verse 6 says, if you sin, you are not of God and you don't know him. Not if you try not to sin. No, if you sin, even if you try not to sin, you are still sinning. And you do not abideth in him. I will clarify this more. And then verse 7 and 8. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. What is righteousness? What makes us righteous? Romans 4:5. I cannot stress this enough. But to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith, not his works, not him trying to stop sinning, not him trying to turn away from his sins, not him trying to stop an addiction. No, his faith. His faith makes him righteous. Whosoever, he that doeth righteousness is righteous. What makes us righteous? Faith. He that has faith is righteous, even as he is righteous. We are born of God by faith. Okay? We are born of God by faith. Grace through faith, not of works, lest any man should boast. Ephesians 2:8-9. Verse 8, he that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning, for this is the purpose the Son of God was manifested. Why was the Son of God manifested? That he might destroy the works of the devil. If they went one verse down, look at what it says. Whosoever is born of God doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him. He cannot sin, because he is born of God. Now let me clear up the cloudiness in the water so we can see the perfect gem under it. Let me clear it up, okay? I'm clearing up the water, okay? Now, let me say this. Whosoever is born of God does not commit sin. Is our flesh born of God? No. What is born of God? Our flesh or our spirit? Because last time I checked, I was not crawling back into my mother's womb. No. I came out of my mother's womb and I was born once, which was of water, because a common term is her water broke, meaning I was born of water. Okay? And then I was born spiritually again. Did not crawl back into her womb. I was born spiritually again. I did not swim. I did not get it. I did not dunk myself in water. I was not trickled with some super water. Okay, I was not trickled with the water from the Nile River or the fingers of the devil, like the Catholics do. Okay, I was not like that. That's not what happened. I was born of God when I believed. I was born again of God when I believed. When you believe, you do not physically get born again. You spiritually get born again. That's what what's his name? Nicodemus was like. He was like, how can a man be born again when he is old? He said, you have to be born again to go to heaven. Nicodemus was like, man, I'm old, bro. How am I gonna get born again? What, like crawl back into my mother's womb? No. And he said, you're born again of the water and of the Spirit. Whatsoever is born of the flesh is flesh. Whosoever is born of the Spirit is spirit. So that is what verse 9 is saying. We are born of the Spirit, born again of God by the Spirit, or of the Spirit. Our spirit does not commit sin, but our flesh does. That is why when we die and go to heaven and Jesus comes back, we're getting a glorified body. Why? Why would we need to do that if our flesh doesn't sin? See, it makes no sense, and it does not line up with Scripture. Okay? And the children of God are manifest. He and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not, righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. Okay? Oh my goodness. Verse 10 through the rest of this verse 10 through 24, it's been taken out of context so much, and I just want to get to this tomorrow. So we're done with this for right now, and then verse 11 through 24, I'm going to explain in another video. This is just a part 1 of 2 series. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button, share this with your friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, Catholic, your favorite Catholic priest, your Catholic Protestant, I don't know. Share it to somebody who needs to see this, who abuses 1 John 3:9 and abuses this false doctrine that is manifested when you see this verse out of context. So, or use this in your debates. When somebody brings this up, you're like, no. Look in context, buddy. Look in context. Okay, context is needed, buddy. Last time I checked, the Bible was not made for you to sit there and cherry pick verses out of the Bible. No! It was made to read. It's a book. It is a book. You don't sit there and read a book about a dinosaur and sit there, let me look at this page about a T-Rex. And then, it says the T-Rex was 20,000 years old. Oh, well, if you turn back here, it says that the Triceratops was 20,000 years old. So that must mean the T-Rex is 20,000 years old. And it just doesn't make sense. Okay, that analogy didn't make sense, but I just wanted to say something off the top of my head. The books of the Bible are meant to be read in context. Okay, immediate context, the context immediately, which are the first 2 verses and the 2 verses down. Then the chapter context, where you read the whole chapter. And then also another context is the book context. And then historical context. And then the Bible context, where you're just reading through the Bible. In context. So, yeah. This is for people who preach differently about the free grace of God. So, hope you guys enjoyed, like I said earlier. If you did, hit the like button, share with all your friends who are workspace salvationists, or with your friends to get a good laugh, you know? Get a good laugh or something. I'm not very funny, but, you know, it's alright, you know? No, I'm just kidding. But I don't want to victimize myself, you know what I'm saying? Alright, whatever. So, bye, guys. Yeah.